Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Ador, and this time I'll be doing a series comparing investment options that would hopefully guide you in making better decisions for your money. This is what I do before investing my hard-earned money. I look at the numbers, the costs, including taxes, the fees, and calculate projected returns so I stay motivated to keep investing. Say you've been saving for years and you now have a good sum of money. Now the big question is, where should you invest? Would you use it as a down payment for a condo in a major city? Or would you invest it all in Pag-IBIG MP2 earning steady, tax-free dividends? For many Filipinos, this is a real dilemma. Especially if you're investing a big lump sum of hard-earned money. A condo represents success, stability, and the dream of owning property. MP2, on the other hand, is less glamorous, but it quietly grows your wealth in the background. But the choice you make could mean the difference between growing your wealth steadily or watching it slowly disappear. So today, I'll walk you through the real numbers. I model the costs, the fees, the cash flows, and even taxes. By the end, you will see clearly how your money grows in each scenario after 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. And let's be clear, both of these investment choices have pros and cons. My goal isn't to tell you what to do, but to give you the full picture so you can decide what's right for you. Now, let's start with a condo dream. Imagine you've got an eye on a property, 5 million condo unit in a major city in the Philippines. You're thinking perfect location, big potential for renting out. So I'll use my 1 million pesos as down payment. But here's what most of the real estate agent brokers don't tell you when selling these condos. There are costs and fees associated with buying a property. And these kick in as soon as you sign that registration form. But you're excited, you paid a reservation fee, but let's look at all the numbers. Since the price is above 3.6 million, you pay 12% VAT, that's 600,000 pesos. Doc stamps, transfer fees, registration fees at about 150,000. If you add that to your down payment of 1 million pesos, this means your total initial cash outlay is 1.75 million, almost double your original savings of 1 million. But let's just say you had enough savings to cover the costs. The next step for you was to go to the bank and took a 4 million mortgage loan at 6% for 10 years. Your amortization would then be 44,000 a month. Annually, that's 530,000 pesos amortization that covers principal plus interest. Now, here's the problem. Condos are not just for buying and waiting. You need to rent it out to cover your loan. Let's assume that the unit is ready for occupancy. You can now work with a state agent to find potential tenants to occupy the property. Let's have a look at the potential rental income. At a gross rental yield of 7%, you can collect about 350,000 pesos of rental income in a year. That's 30,000 a month. But then we start deducting. Number one, association dues. 120 pesos per square meter. So your unit is, say, 40 square meters. That's 57,600. Property taxes, 18,750. Property management, 8%. Let's say 8% of gross, that's 28,000. Rental tax of 8%, that's another 28,000. Let's budget minor repairs. Let's say 5% of gross, that's 17,500. And let's also allow 5% vacancy. This is the gap in between tenants or period where your condo unit is vacant while you're waiting a new tenant to move in. After all these deductions, your net rental income before mortgage is 180,000. But your mortgage is 530,000 per year. Again, here's the cash flow map. Rent income is 350,000 less maintenance of 170,000, you're left with 180,000. Less your loan of 530,000, that's a negative cash flow of 350,000 per year. This means kailangan mong gamitin ang sarili mong savings to fund the negative cash flow para mabayaran mo ang utang mo sa bangko na 530,000 a year. But that's expected because when owning a property, you will benefit in the long term, right? Now, let's have a look at the 5-year performance. Let's say the condo doesn't appreciate at all in 5 years. Remember, we're modeling the conservative scenario here. So after 5 years, the market value of your condo stays at 5 million, less your loan balance of 3.86 million, your equity is now 1.14 million. But remember, you've already been bleeding 1.75 million in negative cash flow over 5 years, so your net position is now 1.75 loss. But let's look at the longer term scenario. Let's say after 10 years, assuming 3% annual appreciation of your condo means yung value ng condo mo is going up by 3% per year. The value of your property then at year 10 with 3% appreciation is now 6.72 million. If you decide to sell the condo, you incur 8% selling cost. So the actual value less the cost is 6.16 million. By the 10th year, your loan is fully paid off. Remember, 10-year mortgage loan ang kinuha mo sa bangko. So your equity is now 6.16 million. But remember, you've been negative cash flow for 10 years of 3.5 million. So after everything in consideration, you are now break even finally with a net gain of 1 million pesos. That's an investment return of 1.5 per year on the average. But let's say you decide to keep the condo longer, 15 years naman, with 3% annual appreciation. The property value at year 15 is 7.8 million. By this time, loan has already been cleared. So the property value plus the positive rental income, your total equity is now 8.7 million. Now, less the 1.75 million cash outlay at the beginning, plus mortgage payments, and remember, you've been bleeding cash for the first 10 years, so your net gain is 3.5 million. Therefore, if you look at the true and actual investment return of your condo, it's only 5.5% per year. But the good thing about owning condo or a property is that tangible asset. You can live in it, rent it out, hold for legacy. There's also potential for long-term appreciation, and you can use it to hedge inflation through rental income. However, condo investing can have cons. There's a very high upfront cost, VAT, transfer fees, and admin fees. You can see in the modeling that you will have a negative cash flow for a full decade despite the appreciation of 3% a year. There's also tenant risk. There's possibility na hindi magbayad ang mga tenants, so you will also incur maintenance and vacancy costs. The property is not very liquid. You can't sell fast when you need cash. Now, let's see what happens if you put the same 1 million in Pag-IBIG MP2 instead of using it as a down payment for a condo. Remember, with condo, your initial cash outlay was 1.75 million including VAT and transfer fees. But just 1 million invested in MP2 with a dividend averaging 7% per year tax-free. Your 1 million is locked for 5 years, but you can keep rolling it over. Means your dividends are reinvested every year. So after 5 years, your 1 million becomes 1.4 million. After 10 years, that becomes 1.97 million. And after 15 years, that's 2.76 million. Remember, that's 1 million invested. But to compare it apple to apple, if you invested in MP2, the same initial cash outlay required for the condo of 1.75 million, that money becomes 5 million pesos at the end of 15 years in Pag-IBIG MP2, all from passive and compounding growth. No tenants, no VAT, no maintenance headaches. So here's the MP2 pros and cons. The advantage of MP2 is that the returns are tax-free, it's safe, and it's government-backed, and it's zero hassle once invested. However, MP2 is also not very liquid as your money is locked in for 5 years. And remember, the dividend returns are not fixed. It can change yearly. And of course, you don't get the prestige compared to owning real estate property. So to summarize, here's a side-by-side comparison. Let's line them up. At 5 years, condo loses money while MP2 grows steadily at 7%. 10 years, condo appreciates value at 3% but rarely makes 1.5% per year, while MP2 is still at 7%. At year 15, condo finally catches up with 5.5% investment return, but MP2 still leads at 7% in terms of return. So what does that mean? A condo ties up your money, bleeds cash for a decade, but may pay off after 15 years. The appreciation depends on whether you pick the right location and also the rental potential. MP2, however, quietly compounds tax-free and grows consistently without stress. And here's the key. I did the modeling so you can see the numbers clearly, but the best option is always up to you. If you value prestige, ownership, and something that you can see and touch, then condo might feel more rewarding for you. However, if you want safety, compounding, no stress, then MP2 all the way. At the end of the day, investing isn't about returns. It's about freedom, peace of mind, and enjoying the journey. So, let me ask you again. If you had 1 million pesos today, would you chase the condo dream or stick with the MP2 reality? Let me know in the comments and don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss brand new videos coming up.